Things look
Say,
bad.
Witcher, come
the
over
peasants
here.
are furious. They finally have a chance to strike back for all the wrongs.
The noblemen won't yield.
They're a cowardly lot.
They know their heads will follow Stennis's.
It's a deadlock, with the prince's guilt still to be proven.
Yarpen says it's someone from Edirn. Sheldon, on the other hand, would shave his beard if it's not Hensel's spies.
Why would Sheldon suspect Henselt?
He'd sooner reach an agreement with Stennis than Saskia. Her death would be very convenient.
Zoltan?
I'm wondering how anyone could manage to poison the wine. Saskia's a quick-witted lass. She doesn't let just anyone near. Someone she knew must have done it.
Has Yarpen got any evidence?
No, Yarpen's an old cook and says he's got a feeling. Ploughing soothsayer.
He might be right with those feelings. After all, not just anyone can pass through the Wraith's mist. It has to be someone local.
So it never crossed your mind that Henselt might have sent someone here before those ghosts appeared?
Anyone reached the prince in his chamber?
Not even close. The nobles guard him like a matron does her ward's hiney.
If the rabble slaughters the prince, there'll be no stopping them. They'll start doing things their own nasty way.
That's why the nobles will support the prince even if they believe he's guilty.
I'm sure Stennis' hands are dirtier than a peasant girl's fucked in a barn.
Woman!
What do you want?
We of noble birth always had to protect the plebs from their own stupidity. If not for us, the world...
I don't have time to listen to songs praising the nobility. Where did Reverend Olkin live?
Let me mark it on your map.
Know anything about the attempt on Saskia's life?
No, I don't. But whatever the truth, the mob cannot lynch one of royal blood.
So truth means nothing to you. That's what makes us different.
I didn't say I don't care about truth. Just keep in mind there's a world order that mustn't be destroyed.
An order that allows injustice.
If the prince turns out to be involved in this attempted murder, he should face a tribunal. The rabble doesn't understand the principles ruling the world.
Or they do understand them and simply don't like them.
Saskia is a wise woman, but there's one thing she doesn't take into consideration. This war will be over one day. Who will sow the crops and milk the cows then? Saskia called the serfs to arms. Do you think they'll want to plough fields again?
You may be right, but it's certainly not my business who'll plough your fields. Farewell. I want to speak with the prince.
You're unique then. Everyone else wants to tear him limb from limb.
We won't let you in.
Only I can help your prince.
Of course. Why didn't I think of that?
Are you mad?
Silence! I'm in command here, and I grant the Witcher leave to enter.
Please, Master.
Are you here to kill me, Monster Slayer?
I'm here for your help. You can save Saskia.
Do you hear them? They want my head. They equate the words of some village idiot with mine. I am the heir to the Edirnian throne, the rightful ruler of this land, descendant of Demavend and Verferil.
Prince, if you help me heal Saskia, the people will forget.
If I don't help you, they'll kill me. This is blackmail.
This is a deal.
What do you want?
Did you poison her?
Of course not. Even if I had, do you think I would boast about it? Don't be a fool.
I'm trying to help. Not only Saskia, but you, Your Highness.
I won't yield to that rabble. Never. One smear is all they needed to lay siege to my doorstep. Do you really think I should plead my innocence every time some village idiot says the prince did it? Or maybe go out there and beg them for mercy? Never!
You merely need to convince them that you're innocent. Prove it wasn't you and they'll walk away.
And if I am innocent, yet lack proof thereof? You claim you wish to help me. Do so. Convince the people to believe me. You'll not regret it.
You're trying to bribe me.
I want only to make a contract. Think about it.
I need royal blood for a potion that will heal Saskia.
Do you mock me?
You owe Saskia your life. She carried you away from the Wraith's battle.
It was her duty, as it would have been of any Edirnian. Besides, my realm is falling apart, and she is responsible. Saskia and her rebels routed the royal forces at Gillette and on the banks of the Dyffny. For practical purposes, the Edirnian army no longer exists.
Those rebels are the last hope you have of stopping Henselt.
And what then? A pig herd will be crowned and appoint a shoeshine his Secretary of State.
Don't think that far ahead. Your Highness, just a few drops of your blood will cure Saskia. Vergen can defend itself only if she's in command.
I've already said I owe this girl nothing. I'll not yield to blackmail even if it costs me my life. I'll go to the axe, my head held high. And I'll certainly not surrender even a drop of royal blood to save a peasant girl. Guards!
What is it, sire?
Show the Witcher out.
Is everything in order, sire?
We had a chat, but we are through. Think on what I told you, Geralt.
I will.
Enough of this charade!
Try to be reasonable, folks. Sit down and talk in peace.
We've talked enough! Come on, lads, let's drag the prince from his hovel!
Vergen's not a cesspit for anyone to shit in. There are laws to abide, and Scalen Burden's job is to uphold them.
There's no law allowing a serf to threaten a king's scion. I, Silgrat, brother of Seltkirk, the greatest knight to walk Edirnian land, say so.
Does it matter who was born in a castle and who in a pigsty? Any fool can prejudge and condemn. It's easier to accuse than to prove guilt.
A peasant servant claims that Prince Stennis supposedly attempted to kill Saskia. Why would the prince do such a dastardly deed? Bear in mind how eminent is his lineage.
That's why! The mongrel covets the crown!
Do you even remember how valorous he was towards Saskia during the negotiations with Henselt?
Pretending to be with her, he was, sly fox. Taking the simple peasants in. But us lads ain't so dumb as you lords think.
See for yourselves how the commoners hate the prince, spitting venom like adders. They hatched a plot to dispose of him.
Saskia's servant said that...
Where is this servant, might I ask? If he's got something to say, why does he hide like a thief? The answer is simple. He's a fraud.
He's hiding to save his skin from you, whoresons. Squirrels have to guard him.
One last question. How could the prince poison Saskia? It's a known fact that servants taste wine from the barrels before the virgin sips it.
It's not clear how the prince poisoned the wine, but that doesn't mean he didn't do it.
Stennis is blowing hot and cold. Everyone knows that.
You were supposed to prove his guilt, not insult him, yokel.
Tell us who else would do it. A peasant wanted to hurt the miss? Never. It's 'cause of her you noble dogs can't ignore us. A pig won't cut its own throat. A peasant's not foolish enough to raise his hand against his savior.
Perhaps it is no peasant's deed. However, that doesn't mean the prince is guilty, fool.
Answer me this. Was not Stennis' room next to Saskia's? Do not the wines come from his own lice-ridden cellar? Can he not enter the Virgin's kitchen at will? Yes. His serene dumbhead the prince can, curses on his kin. Nobody in Vergen wants to kill Saskia. And even if they wanted, nobody but Stennis could do it.
You're wrong, Colton. Reverend Olkin wanted to get rid of Saskia. He thought she was a monster at heart.
Olkin was on Stennis' leash like a dog.
How dare you, lout! Do you imagine if someone sits next to a married lady, he's surely fucking her?
The priest tried to convince Prince Stennis to join the conspiracy.
Is Stennis some dimwit foundling that he dances to a lousy priest's tune? Olcan got what he deserved when Henselt cleaved his head. Now it's Stennis' time.
There is no proof the prince agreed.
The priest asked him for admittance to the kitchen.
So he didn't poison the Virgin himself, but allowed her to be poisoned.
Those are just words. Too much guesswork and not enough evidence. You can't convict anyone based on that.
Your Highness, this is dangerous.
I am not afraid. Fear is a commoner's trait, unfit for one with royal blood running in his veins. What do you want, to judge me? Is a prince a common thief who steals a dozen eggs at the market? You stand before royal majesty, and you raise your hands against it. In this world there are crimes that can be forgiven, and crimes that, by any means, cannot. Just as a mother killing her own child, or a man slitting his own brother's throat cannot be forgiven. A crime against one anointed by the gods themselves also cannot be condoned. He who raises hand against divine right is not worthy to walk this world. And what about he who poisons the Virgin of Edirn? Firstly, Saskia is alive, so no one can blame me for her death. Secondly, you have no proof that it was I who tried to murder her. And thirdly, I assure all gathered here, I won't rise above the law. However, only she, the Virgin of Edern, can judge me.
Can he? And if Saskia won't get well, who's gonna judge you?
I believe she can be cured. But if the gods decide otherwise, we'll summon a coven of the wise who can pass just sentence.
Those are words worthy of a true sovereign.
I am the one you should look to for guidance. Let my deeds be the flame that lights up your darkness.
So you've forgotten how you tried to bribe me when I was at your house?
How about that, snout face?
This is slander.
There are no witnesses, Witcher.
The prince has a right to a fair trial, no matter if he's guilty or not. We can't deny him that. What will the peasants do if we hand them the prince? Will they hear him out? No. They'll hang him from the nearest tree or tear him limb from limb. What will happen if we allow a lynching? What if people see that might makes right? Who'll guarantee they won't desire to avenge their wrongs, real and imagined? Who'll protect people whose only fault is noble birth from the exasperated mob? And where will it lead?
The peasants are furious.
They didn't dare mount a frontal attack.
But they haven't forgotten about Stennis, and won't. It'll be that way until Saskia regains consciousness.
She won't keep order by strength alone.
Unless it's a great strength.
We need an authority figure, and royal blood.
5 courts go to waste in the Dwarven dungeon at the moment.
There's also Henselt.
Going into that haunted mist is madness. Stealing Stennis away would be easier.
No. Anything involving Stennis will cause a riot.
I've had enough of the peasants and nobles barking. Saskia's the best leader I know, but she can't hope to defeat Henselt's army with this rabble, which is why I'm going to get reinforcements.
Where?
4 Scoia'tael units await in hiding to the east. Time to summon them.
You'll make it in time?
I must.
I tried locating Triss, but the mist disrupts the megascope. There's a weak signal nearby, probably on the other side.
In the Kaedweni camp?
You'll have to pass through the mist.
The mist is full of wraiths.
I'll help you. I'm continuously scanning the battlefield. I'll show you the way through. I'll find you when you enter the mist.
Farewell, then.
We still need royal blood.
I know. Henselt.
We need his blood, not his death.
How many times do I have to tell you I'm not a kingslayer?
You were right. The rebels show no thirst for blood. That's not good. They disarmed us and merely demanded our word that we'd make no attempt to flee.
That's not good?
It's unfortunate, yes. For Henselt is bloodthirsty and he's coming here.
I've heard a lot about the Dun Banner recently.
Aye, Kaedweni Light Cavalry. I met them at Brenna. They joined our relief party. But that's the distant past. I believe they were cut down to the last man 3 years ago at Vergen.
You mentioned earlier that you were looking for a witcher with a snake medallion.
Yes, on Sheila de Tanzerville's orders. As I said, the order was curt and specific. Kill him and anyone you find with him. No discussion, no investigation. Guesswork or judgment.
Geralt, first throat of the Witcher's Guild. Finally, a drink with someone worth talking to.
Short on company?
What can Yarpin tell me? I prefer listening to horses fart.
Vergen seems like an ancient town. Do you know its history?
It's one of the mining colonies Mahakam established. There were lots of them just 500 years ago. Now they're mostly in ruins. It was the first town where dwarves and humans began working side by side. For the past 3 years, it's been a symbol of our common death.
Yorvith seems to have changed. Have you noticed?
How? Has his arse grown fatter in Saskia's keep?
An elf who was the greatest foe of humans will now fight for their freedom. Doesn't that surprise you?
Only harpies don't change their minds. I'm no expert on elves, but as I see it, he's got a stiffy for Saskia.
Yorvith?
He stood all gentle as a lamb in council, stealing glances at her tits. When she spoke to him, he looked as happy as a fool whittling a wooden toy.
The Kingslayer's trail has gone cold. Have you heard anything?
No one could sneak into Vergen. We watched day and night. Anyway, who would they come for here? Stennis? Why so keen on capturing the assassin of kings?
Because I'm innocent.
The wise among us know that, and I wouldn't listen to the fools.
I can only prove my innocence by dragging in the real culprit. No other way. I wanted to talk to you about the Free State of Vergen. We haven't had the occasion somehow.
True.
Do you buy into Saskia's ideals?
Are you asking me if I believe what she says, or if I believe she'll be successful?
Both.
Saskia's no liar, that's a fact. But whether we'll manage, who can tell? One thing is sure, we'll never know if we never try. For now, a great battle awaits. A battle in which elf, dwarf, and human will stand side by side. And that is beautiful in itself.
It's also the biggest potential weakness.
Nothing unites folk like shared death. I believe those who survive will honor the deaths of their comrades.
If they win.
Even if they don't. News spreads fast. Others will follow in our footsteps.
Any idea where I can play dice around here?
Try the blacksmith's helper.
Think you might have gone a bit too far with Stennis?
Mummy spent too much time pampering him, so he thought he could do anything he pleased. He got what he deserved. Maybe it'll all blow over, or maybe there'll be another war. History's like a coin that falls out of your pocket. You never know where it's gonna roll.
Saskia needs help, Cecil. Philippa can produce an antidote, but she needs a magic artifact to do that.
Would you like a fern and a dancing worm to go with it? Listen, I don't know about magic, but there is a place, as long as I can remember, it's been of interest to sorcerers. They say it's a very strong intersection. Look for magic there.
Where exactly is there?
Seek out the ruins in the forest beyond Vergen. There's a place of power there. You can't miss it. Why so glum? Saskia's a tough girl. She'll bounce back. Keep your head up.
Thanks, Cecil.
No, Witcher. I thank you. Save that lass, and you'll save my town.
Cecil, do you know anyone who fought in the war 3 years ago?
I did.
Did you fight here at Vergen?
Course.
Philippa claims you know a bit about the battle.
That old kook insult, called king by some, thought that Aedirnians were bumpkins who'd ship bricks as soon as his troops crossed the river.
Why did he attack Aedirn?
According to Henselt, Upper Aedirn is the ancient legacy of the Kedweni crown and must be returned to the mother country. Brazen farter.
That brazen farter had a point. If you read some history, you'll know that 300 years ago this land belonged to Kedwen.
Load of crab. 700 years ago, the elves reigned here. And 1,000,000 years ago, these lands were the domain of the worms. If things worked that way, every king could invade a neighboring land and claim his right to do so because an ancestor took a dump there.
All right. Hensel wanted to conquer Upper Aedirn. What then?
He rolled in, got hammered, and rolled out.
Cecil, that doesn't help me much.
It wasn't a battle. It was a slaughter. If I try speaking of it, I'll see it all again. I don't want...
The ghosts of the fallen fight in the mist. They turn into horrible creatures called Draugrs. Aedirnians, Kedweni, men, elves, and dwarves too.
Bloody hell. No peace even after death.
I want to help them, but I need to know more about the battle.
Very well. Listen, a beautiful day that grew hot later. Very hot. When Vandergrift attacked in the afternoon, He sent the Dun banner at the fore. Many of our lads shit themselves at the mere sight of their standard, but we had a surprise of our own. Under the cover of night, we prepared fire pits. Our archers lit them up at the right moment. I still can't believe we managed to fool their scouts. If it wasn't for that ambush, we wouldn't be speaking today. They likely wouldn't be in Upper Eddern at all. We decimated the Dun banner, but that was only the beginning. Seltkirk was our commander. Everywhere he appeared, the Kidwennies gave ground. He wreaked havoc among them. Hearts rose at the mere sight of his armor. Then, Vandegrift himself entered the fray. Seltkirk met him in the middle of the field. In the end, Vandegrift killed Seltkirk. A terrible death that sent the Edirnian ranks into disarray. I thought it was the end of us. Then the sky fell, as if the stars themselves had decided to avenge the death of a great knight. Fire covered the battlefield. Nobody sought the enemy. They were all looking for somewhere to flee. Yes, there were no more friends and enemies, only the living and the dead. They say it was the doing of a Kidwenny sorceress who wanted revenge on Vandegrift. Could be true, as Henselt had her executed right after the battle.
You saw the Kidwennies cross the river?
From afar, I saw Vandegrift leading 4,000 heavily armed men. Many a heart sank when we saw the elite bearheads or the armoured banners from Ardcarrig. The Dun banner was in the middle, veterans of Brenna. As soon as he set foot on Edirnian land, Vandegrift climbed a hill and surveyed the area, as if it was his fief. Son of a bitch was as sure of himself as ever. Upon spying him, I remember the dwarves all dropped their trousers and showed him their asses. Then Seltkirk stepped out in front of us. His white armour shone in the sun. We were afraid a Kidwenny arbalist would shoot him, but they too stood as if frozen, and Seltkirk just looked at them and bowed ever so slightly.
Remember anything from before the battle?
As if it was yesterday. Henselt's troops crossed the Pontar the third day after the autumn equinox. Edirn had good spies, so we were ready for them, and Seltkirk lined up our troops along the hills. Our hearts rose at the sight of the banners of Vengerberg, Aldersberg and Gullet fluttering in the wind. Knights and armoured infantry side by side in our ranks. Even the peasants had their regiments. The dwarves were on the left flank. Over 5,000 strong we were. Nobody caring about race or background, like never before. Only King Demavend was missing, but he must have had more important business than defending his country.
You captured the Dun banner standard?
Henselt's choice troops, and not a one survived. The visitors sent them to their deaths, refused to give them reinforcements. He was a monster in human form. The men of the Dun were real swaggerers. Killed a lot of our lads, but for every Dunna, there were 7 Edirnians. They had no chance. Aye, we captured their standard. We buried what was left of them in the crypts beyond Vergen. Their standard lies with them. Worthy foes are to be respected, even in death.
I'm going to need that standard. Did you see the duel between Seltkirk and Vandegrift?
I stood half a furlong from them. Never seen a fight like it. Probably never will again. They'd already met once, at a jousting tournament in Ardcarrig. Seltkirk won there. He beat on the visitor so hard he broke his sword. Seltkirk was a true knight, the last of his breed. Vandegrift was so pissed off after that tournament he hanged the smith who made his sword and ordered a special one from a sorcerer. I bet he cut down Seltkirk with that new sword.
Vandegrift is dead. What happened to his sword?
Saskia's got it. Good thing too. Only her hand can tame the hatred enchanted in that sword. After the battle, when the flames abated, the scavengers came. They stole everything. Imagine. Not a single keepsake or Seltkirk in the whole of Edirn. His brother babbles something about a gauntlet, but he's a lying dog.
Thanks, Cecil, that was helpful. I think I know what I need to lift the curse now.
Madame Eilhard claims you need 4 symbols. The standard symbolizes death. Vandegrift's sword stands for hatred. What about the other 2?
I have a feeling Philippa has a handle on the rest.
Here's hoping you're right.
Kedmil.
Greetings. What are you doing out here this late?
Thinking
About what?
about the approaching fight.
As long as the mist of wraiths is up, there won't be a fight.
I ponder something else. We women must leave the shadows. When fighting, we're equal to men, but off the battlefield.
Women are no warriors.
We do everything the men do, and as well as they do. Gender doesn't determine ability.
You know why men command armies? Because they don't waste time on idle chatter. We could argue all night about the injustice of it, but until you show you can get something done, saying that you can won't change much. It won't be easy, but you could try to blaze a trail.
A worthy endeavor in itself, I know. Thank you, Witcher. Godspeed.
You wanted to discuss something?
I found one of the ingredients for Saskia's cure.
Show me. Interesting. Getting warmer, but still not there. It's as if I'd sent you to get me the sun and you'd brought me a candle. We need something massive, an item of real power, Geralt. This is a dwarf's dream. Stolen and magically encased in this crystal. It would do if it was stronger.
You know what this means? In addition to normal harpies, there are Solano in the area.
Solano?
Dream Snatchers. The only harpy species to develop something resembling intelligence. They magically bind dreams to mountain crystals. I heard they once inhabited this area. Solano live among regular harpies, but their lair should be full of stolen dreams. One of those would be powerful enough, I'm sure.
You'd have to enter the harpy lair through the quarry. Unfortunately, the gate to the caves is locked and Cecil Burden won't open it. I asked him on another occasion. Stubborn as a mule, that one. But we must not relent. Saskia clings to life by a thread. Let me show you the desire contained in this particular dream. Don't be hasty to judge.
Yes, I can feel it. Whose dream is it?
Cecil Burden's.
In that case, I need to see the alderman. Got a feeling he just might open the gate for me. I need to get inside the harpy lair.
No chance.
I know all about the harpies. They steal dreams, collect them. I found one, but it proved too weak for our purposes. I need a stronger one. So I'm asking you nicely, open the damn gate.
Listen, Witcher. I want Saskia to recover, I do. But don't ask me to turn this town into a circus just before we battle Henselt. My grandfather locked that gate for a good reason. Imagine if we could all go in there to look at those dreams. Dwarves, peasants, their scoia'tael, Adernian nobles even. All seeing the desires of others. Terrifying. It would be the end of Vergen. What's more, legend has it the oldest stolen dreams can become reality. And I don't want nightmares stalking Vergen's back alleyways come nightfall.
Open it. I'll make it quick.
Stop pissing me off. You're acting like a drunk suitor. No means no.
You know, don't know if I should mention this, but the dream I found belongs to you.
What are you talking about?
It's an embarrassing affliction, I imagine. Hell, even something of a political liability in your case. Some might even call you a freak. You're the alderman. An ages-old tradition is vested in you. On top of that, you now lead the preparations for Vergen's defense.
You wouldn't dare.
Imagine your ancestors carved in stone. Condemnation, not pride on their bearded faces. Who knows? Maybe you'd keep your office, but you'd be the talk of the town for ages. And your nephew? Poor kid.
I'll open the gate. I promised Scalen's mother I'd be sober as a judge to the end of my days, and I aim to keep my word. I don't give a damn about ages-old traditions and piss on loose talk. But you're right. I cannot compromise Vergen's morale. You must bury this thing. The secret dies with you, never to be spoken aloud. Understand?
I do. Thanks, Cecil, and good luck staying sober.
The head of a king. Take it to Sheila. You know where. She'll give you coin and further orders.
Heavy. How am I supposed to carry it through the forest? I won't be able to draw my sword.
You'll go unarmed, in common clothes. Try to sneak through unnoticed, but if anyone asks, you're bringing the witch some sausages.
You can see it a mile away, and it stinks of vinegar. I'll have to find a thick sack.
Go on. Quit complaining. There's no time.